Welcome to the Between2Wheels live stream, serving up a weekly slice of motorcycle goodness directly. Fuck, Ken, you just screwed me all to hell and you're muted. Damn it.
I'm just saying, I muted myself. I wasn't even saying nothing.
I know. Damn it. I'm just going to start it all over. Damn it.
Oh, man, I can't wait. I bet you he can't wait to get back in the studio to where he can edit all this.
Oh, I know. Jesus. Welcome to the Between2Wheels live stream, serving up a weekly slice of motorcycle goodness directly to YouTube. I'm your host, Johnny Roblox, and my co-hosts this week are Justin, Freedom Giver Bird, and Uncle, Do the F That Guy segment, Ken. This episode is being brought to you by Get Lowered Cycles, an online retailer with a soul. Today's episode is about gyros. But first, huge shout out and congratulations to John Maxwell for opening up Maxwell Motors. Can you do the noise thing? Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, on behalf of Between Two Wheels, we wish you the absolute best with this new journey. And I think I can say for all of us that we look forward to seeing new content coming from the Maxwell house.
Womp womp.
Okay.
Wow.
Come on, it was worth a
coffee
shot.
joke.
I mean, he does like coffee, and
I tied all kinds of perfect themes together with that.
I see where you're going with it.
It landed about as well as I thought it would.
You just throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity for Maxwell, though, to be honest. Like,
oh God, this is so
Maxwell's
awesome
place would have been
for
a
him.
damn good name for a garage. Just saying.
Yeah.
Or Maxwell's house, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. Second, Project Clean Slate stretched saddlebag drawing is happening in about 20 days. There are still a few tickets left, so get in on this for your bike, a gift for your friend or family member, or just to help us raise money for Project Clean Slate. Also, if you don't win, you do get to write this off on your taxes as a donation. And third and final thing before we jump into the actual show. I know I have not updated last week's stream notes with the links. I suck. I know. Instead, I am developing a curated list of all the products that we have reviewed or discussed on the show, and we'll have a dedicated page over at between2wheels.com. The 2 is spelled out TWO. This will make it easier to, one, keep a good updated list going to where if we do a long-term review on something and in our initial thoughts where it was awesome, and then, I don't know, say 8-9 months later, they turn out to be complete garbage, Speed and Strength Black 9 Moto shoes. But things like that, it's a lot easier to update it via the website. So that is what the plan is, and I do have a free weekend this weekend to actually get it up and live. So be sure to check that out. Okay, now, what's going on, guys?
My daughter graduated high school. Thank fucking God.
No more child support.
Oh, well, I still got that.
Not
But
for
only,
her, though,
but
right?
only have one kid.
My kid hasn't graduated high school.
Well,
So,
you gotta have one for them to do that.
we're trying. A lot of practice. So much practice.
Try harder.
Yeah.
Oh, that can get dangerous.
Well, I mean, you can always call in for assistance. Ken?
Pinch hitter. I'm fixed. So it'll just be practice.
We're good. We're good on all of that.
All right, so before the show started, we had this conversation going about, are we ready for the defunding of the police departments?
Yes.
Now, before we talk about gyros or gyros, depending on what part of the country you're from.
I like them both.
Yes. But let's talk about this because this is fucking hilarious. So if y'all have been living under a rock for the past couple weeks and you don't realize that there's a big movement going on that has to do with police brutality, and it is racially charged, but one of the cries from the protesters is that they would like to see the police departments defunded. Now, before we go into some crazy fucking tangent, Ken, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it'll never happen. Most city charters state that, this city must provide a police force of some sort. I mean, without getting too deep into it, yeah, it'll never happen. However, what departments are now talking about doing is doing away with their police unions, because that's really where the problem getting rid of bad officers is. So, perfect example here in San Antonio, we had an officer. I think it was started back in 2016. He deliberately gave a homeless man a shit sandwich, an actual turd-filled shit sandwich. All right, this came to light, and he was fired. Right, makes sense. You as a police officer on duty giving a homeless person a shit sandwich because it'll be funny it's not funny, and he was fired. Well, because of police unions, he was able to go to the union as a third-party arbitrator and get his job back. He got his job back. No loss in pay, no demotion, none of that. He got his fucking job back and was back out on the streets. Okay. And he admitted to doing as much. Then last year, he had another shit-related incident where a female officer had brought up, hey, keep the bathrooms clean. All right. I'm a girl. I got to sit regardless. Keep the toilets clean, which is a fair request, in my opinion. So he and allegedly another officer went in the women's locker room, took a shit in the toilet, didn't flush, and allegedly smeared feces or another brown substance on the toilet seat. So he was caught, and he admitted to it. So I guess there really is no allegedly. He actually admitted to doing that prank against this female officer. He's still on the force because they're still waiting for this arbitration to go through the union to help him keep his job. Had the union not been there back in 2016, he'd have been fired. And it'd have been over with. Police unions, at least in San Antonio, the police union in San Antonio has a 67% success rate in getting an officer their job back, regardless of what they did. 67%. Imagine going into your job and taking a shit in someone's trash can or whatever, and you don't get fired for it. Like, that's where the problem comes from. I mean, hey, if I'm not going to get fired or held, if there's nearly a 70% chance that I'll get my job back or keep my job, there's nothing to stop me from not doing anything bad.
Yeah, when you remove accountability. But, it's I think that's the biggest issue here is accountability. Police officers not being held accountable for their actions. And now that they are, it's creating an uproar. And, I hear a lot of things on social media and the news and stuff about all the looting and how, all these people are complaining that the cops need to be disbanded, but they're also the ones robbing the stores. And here's the thing. I'm not saying looting is a good thing, but they've tried speaking. That didn't work. They tried peaceful protesting. That didn't work. They go and loot some buildings and set some shit on fire. Now the entire global media is paying attention. So hopefully they can take the evil stuff that happens from the looting and all the violence that came from that and use this media attention to actually spread the word that they want to get out there. But look, every time something like this comes to light, these types of events are happening. And every time they've gotten bigger, more violent, and there's going to be a boiling point. And I think with coronavirus, with all the other shit that's been happening with just the protesters,
more murder hornets. I mean, come on now.
So I'm looking at this like, are we going to start seeing martial law put into effect?
No, martial law won't happen. No, there's so much, and you know as well. There's so much involved with martial law, and what people don't realize, when martial law is declared, like actually declared, all your constitutional rights are fucking gone. Like gone. Your First Amendment, Second Amendment, all of them fucking gone. And now you're dealing with the military, and I hate to tell it, people don't want that. I mean, these fuckers get told to go fucking mop a parking lot in the rain to clean it up. You want to turn the U.S. into a war zone? That shit'll happen if you implement martial law. But a good strategy, though, is if you've got the military marching down your street, all you got to do is just play the national anthem, and they got to stop and render proper customs and courtesies.
Not during a war zone, though. Just someone with a long rifle will just start taking out the officers. No, don't aim for the officers. Aim for those sergeants.
Yeah.
They're the ones that actually know what the fuck they're doing. All right, so I wanted to carry that into this.
I could go on and on about how dumb the idea is and what they should actually do, but this is a motorcycle podcast.
Yes. Now, Motorcycle Mick stepped up. Satchel of Richards. I like this. It's like a dick bag.
Well, I mean,
or bag of dicks.
A Richard is a male Karen. I mean, that's how I look at it.
So let's
the son of a Richard or the son of a Karen is a Tyler.
Who the fuck comes up with this shit?
Me?
Okay. Let's talk about gyros on motorcycles. So I want to read an excerpt from autoblog.com's article about this. And this is a quote. Harley-Davidson has a lot of work to do if it's going to successfully transition from its current path of best-selling but waning heavyweight cruiser-style motorcycles into segments that attract a younger customer base, including sporty bikes and electric vehicles. One direction we didn't expect the manufacturer to venture was into self-balancing technology, and yet HD is indeed looking into exactly that, as can be seen in a recent patent application that describes a gyroscopic device mounted inside a touring bike's top luggage case. Now, according to a Cycle World article, Harley's patent describes a heavy flywheel spun to 10 or 20,000 RPMs by an electric motor. The entire assembly would be mounted on a gimbal, allowing it to move with the bike while the rider is traveling at speed, and the balancing assist isn't needed. At around 3 miles per hour, the gimbal would lock into place, and a clutch would engage that spins the flywheel. A computer would control the tilt of the flywheel to keep the bike stable with little intervention from the rider. Okay. So, in a tour pack, they're going to have a gyro. And let's think about this. It's going to be on a touring bike, so it's going to have to be able to offset 800 some odd pounds to be able to level it out, to stabilize it.
And that's just the bike.
Yeah. So let's put me on there. Now we're looking at 1,100 pounds. how big of a device, how big of a flywheel is that going to be? And how do you build it to sit inside of a tour pack and still let it spin 10 to 20,000 RPM?
I mean,
Justin, you are the resident science nerd.
can I just go ahead and put out there that it sounds terrifying?
Yeah, it really does. So there's a device currently that you can find on a lot of high level boats, and that is a very similar gyroscopic action. It's to minimize the seasickness. And those things are the size of a desk, like large. Now, granted, we're talking a motorcycle, not a boat, but I would almost feel like the physics would equal out since there's no buoyancy involved with motorcycles. 10,000 to 20,000 RPM, that's a good spinning motor. I don't think so.
Fuck.
It is. And I don't think the weight would have to be that fast because of that.
So this right here is a 2-pound counterweight. So if we're thinking 25 of these spinning, now again, they could use denser metal.
Did they say how much the counterweight was?
No, I couldn't find that at all.
Yeah. I don't think that the counterweight would or the heavy portion of the gyro would have to be that heavy given the high RPMs. Because at that point, you're generating so much force.
I mean, it wouldn't have to be super heavy. I mean, I've played with the little science ones, you know, you can hold in your hand, or even your little wrist trainer, that you use, Justin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty tiny. How much that thing weigh? Less than a pound? Maybe a pound?
I think it's like 2.5 ish.
So I mean, it doesn't weigh a lot, but you know, you get it spinning, and
that's way under 10,000 RPM.
Yeah. So they're altering the equation pieces where they can't add the weight they make up for in velocity, in essence. That's what you're saying, Justin.
Exactly. Yeah. Centrifugal force is a motherfucker.
Now, something that's interesting, little research action occurred. Here's a headline from 2017 in Wired magazine. Honda's self-balancing motorcycle is perfect for noobs. God, you know, that's why I love Wired. They let millennials write.
Well, I mean, we're in our 30s, so I would hope that they would allow us to have jobs.
So here's some of the details around this. Honda being Honda, instead of using a gyro, they went super technical and used a balancing system that was originally developed for their robot, Asimo. Honda uses an electronic steer-by-wire system that disengages the handlebars from the front forks at speeds below 3 miles per hour. Okay, we are seeing a common thread around the 3 mile per hour thing. Passing control of the front wheel to the computer. The bike senses lean angles and swings the wheel to either side thousands of times per second to counteract any tendency to tip over. It also adjusts the angles of the front forks, lowering the bike's center of gravity to improve stability. Now, for all of y'all watching this, when you're done with this live stream, go and YouTube Honda's self-driving motorcycle. And that's what this motorcycle is. The guy, or may have been a woman, hits a button and it starts following them around the office. I mean, look, gimmicky as hell, yes. But the technological advancement is just killer. I love it. That, and we also are seeing the way that Honda's thinking.
Yeah.
Self-propelled motorcycles.
I just,
self-driving motorcycles, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, my only thing with what Harley has in mind is you're taking up the tour pack now. I mean, my helmet barely fits as is. I mean, 2 helmets and, gloves and stuff stuffed around. But now you're taking up a quarter, a half of the tour pack. Plus the weight of the device anyways.
So what if you have about 4 inches maybe between the bottom of the tour pack and the top of the fender, right? What if you buried it, like half of it in there, and moved the actual tour pack up, whatever the next piece of that is, so then you can have all of your electronics and everything buried kind of underneath like a false floor, and then you'd have your tour pack on top of it. Yes, it's going to raise it up, but by how much, we don't really know.
Yeah, I just think about, the weight aspect of it. I mean, it's going to weigh 20, 30, 50 pounds, and it's going to, if they do put it in the tour pack, of course, all that weight is up high. So that makes it, even with it not running, that's going to make it that much more difficult to handle, even at high speeds. It does add a factor to it. And then, of course, I think about, well, what if that shit quits working, and you're dropping to, below 3 miles an hour, and you think it's going to work, and it don't.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You have the use of a gyro with Harley. You have the use of sensors and just insane movement of a wheel. But wait, there's more. In 2016, Wired magazine, yes, I am a nerd. I accept that. But in 2016, BMW's Motorcycle of Tomorrow is all about the feels. Okay, that's a little lame of a fucking headline. However, the Vision vehicle will act with foresight and is able to protect the rider at any time, says Heinrich. Uh-oh. Are you into it with someone, Justin?
I'm not into it. I was just correcting them. The person said that the weight would have to equal the weight of the bike.
No.
And I said, no, the force would have to be equal to a percentage of the weight of the bike and rider, because it doesn't take 800 pounds of force to hold up a bike.
Yeah, or even lift it off the kickstand.
Correct.
Right. It's all about where you have the weight located, and how it's being leveraged. Because that's what it's really, you're using centrifugal force as leverage to balance the bike.
Which that's why it wouldn't work in a wheel as well, because the wheel would be too close to the fulcrum of the angle.
Yeah. It would actually, you'd want it to be closer to above center of gravity than below center of gravity.
Correct.
All right.
It's going to be noisy too.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I was like 10,000 anything running at 10,000 RPM is
It's going to be loud.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking, something ridiculously.
I'm kind of envisioning the sound of like the live wire at like full throttle or full open wire, if you will.
Yeah. Because 10,000, 20,000 RPMs, it's going to be loud. And of course it'll, everything will have to be just perfect on that. There's so much, precise machining that'll have to be done on that. Because at that amount of RPMs, the slightest imbalance would just wreck that shit.
Yeah.
Well,
you're talking in the realms of F1 precision when it comes to instruments like a gyroscope.
And then think about it. Let's say you're doing 1-2 miles an hour in traffic, and you're sitting there all balanced up on your bike, and someone fucking rear ends you. You just threw that thing out of balance, and it's gonna fucking grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, imagine that thing getting hit while it's spinning that fast. Like that is. Have you ever seen those videos where people throw cinder blocks inside of a washing machines?
yeah. Or I mean, or taking a CD, taking a CD and putting it in a ROM drive and then overclocking it to
Yeah.
fucking hell. That's going to happen right behind you.
Yep.
I mean,
So,
I applaud their thoughts and their want of doing this. I look at all the bad stuff that's going to happen.
well, there's a lot of possibilities that are scary to think about, for sure. But they're not going to obviously take something like this to market without looking
Oh, of
at
course
that.
not.
The liabilities would be way too much. So, kind of going back to what BMW was saying, driver assistance features will continually monitor the environment, the route, the speed, the angle of lean, and myriad of other factors, intervening to ensure the rider can't crash. Gyroscope keep the bike upright when stationary, so you can't even fall when stopped. BMW's roughly an eternity from actually telling riders to ditch traditional safety gear, but things like traction control, hill start assist, and anti-lock brakes are already making it harder to kill yourself on two wheels.
I mean, not really.
I don't know.
At what point do you just? I mean, you just get a convertible. Does Tesla make a convertible yet? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
the
that's
Roadster.
really okay. I mean, that's what you have there. I mean, if you don't have to hardly ride it, at what point does it really not become a motorcycle anymore?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like how many people go out and buy something that has a bunch of rider modes and they don't get to the one that has all the nannies turned off.
Yeah, and most people don't.
It's I don't know. I mean, I'm known as the trailer king, and I accept that, but I want to still ride my motorcycle when I get to the place. I don't want to have it tote me around.
I mean,
Give it a couple more years.
it'd be good for Brad, in parking lots. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, something like the Honda one, could you imagine how amazing you would be at slow racing?
Oh.
yeah,
Just continuously tap that rear brake.
man.
I mean, think about it. When you're slow racing, you see now it's not going 1,000 times a minute, but they move their front wheel to maintain balance.
Yeah.
So
that's what the Honda's doing.
See, that's another thing that blows my mind is they're talking about disconnecting the front wheel from the handlebars.
It's like it's
So
like in race cars, you have that quick disconnect. This is just the electronic version of it. Just quick disconnect at the triple tree. You don't need that control.
Like, Justin could never have this bike because he'd go to work on it and then, like his current ignition, he'd have to jiggle some wires to get it to work.
Facts.
That's so cold. Accurate, but cold.
Like, I mean, it'll really get to a point where you can't work on your own motorcycle for fear of it really fucking like becoming deadly. I mean, with your ignition wires, if they just quit working, then your bike dies, or you can't start it, or you can't turn it off.
What if we're thinking about this completely wrong? It just dawned on me. What if this is a garbage patent? They now have precedent on gyros in a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
They now have a patent for it that they can then tie future patents onto.
I mean,
So-
patents aren't cheap, but of course, it's just a drop in the bucket for Harley.
Oh, patents are. Oh, here's the thing: Harley-Davidson has patent lawyers that work for them, so they're just normal employees. But if you think about it, they could be looking at this, maybe using this as their R&D to put something into like a Street Fighter, or maybe their street line, something, a lighter motorcycle where your gyro may only actually be this big, spinning at 10,000 to 20,000 RPMs, but you could put that on, a street 750 or whatever the hell, street 700. You can put it on there and you'd be fine.
Yeah. One way to look at this is imagine a bike with this at the drag strip. I mean, it'll be a little, help with the takeoff a little bit. Of course, it'll just be momentary, but, when it comes to like drag racing, milliseconds count.
I think the weight differential would kill your benefit. Because, here's the thing. Their race tires are fucking, 18, 19 wide? Yeah. They're not putting their feet down anyways.
Oh, no.
Hell,
I wasn't talking about like a drag bike. I'm talking about like
Oh,
everyday schmucks that like to go out and race.
gotcha. Yeah. I don't know. So, our resident racing professional, or at least motorcycle Mick, he wouldn't even touch it. Drag racing, and he'll touch anything.
He touch a lot of stuff.
So, I had to admit, Mick stepped in for you last week. He did do us a favor, and he didn't suck.
Well, that's good.
So we may have found someone that can backfill when you and your 3 other replacements are not available.
Well, that's if they show up. I think Hasso's here. Pretty sure Brad's not.
It's Brad.
Yeah, it's Brad. He's got such a tough white privilege life.
Poor guy has to work, figure out what he's going to do about a love life situation. I feel for the guy.
Is it love or is it lust?
Well, I think at this point it's just going to be lust.
Yeah.
But he'll probably take whatever he can get.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Hasso had to be present. His face is on the thumbnail for this.
True.
Haas has been talking trash about getting a new bike. What was he talking about getting last, Justin?
He wants an enduro bike so he can come race with me.
So he was talking about all that, and the joke was, once his wife approves it. And of course, as you see on the thumbnail, that's what his wife approved.
Right.
Ha! Armando. Love it. A gyro would help Dyna Bros with their wheelies.
Ooh.
I'll leave this on the front.
Oh, actually, it'd help the bagger bros with their wheelies.
Yeah.
Added weight, yeah.
Especially have it high up in the tour pack. Okay, I don't know where it was.
Trying to wheelie with a fucking tour pack.
I don't know where it was on YouTube. I went down some crazy rabbit hole, but I saw the effects of why a touring bike should not do wheelies.
Really?
It was gorgeous.
Is it because it's heavy as fuck and not balanced well?
So what he did, I'm assuming it's a he, just because of the size. I don't know for sure. The person riding said it is an electric glide. They were riding it. They come up, pretty badass wheelie, except they went all the way back and went vertical. When they did, their stretched saddlebag, tore off. Along came their exhaust pipes. They obviously heard it. They brought it down. When they did, blew out the fork seals.
Yep.
And then he crashed.
Yeah. That'll happen. I mean, I had my last Road Glide airborne. It was exciting.
I get my current one, little hops. Because Tracy does not like me doing wheelies.
Well, when I jumped my last Road Glide, I had no intention of actually jumping it, but it happened, and I did it.
Do that?
When did I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, hell, this was shit. Faith was still working at Topgolf even before her accident, so it's like 2014-ish.
Okay, so it was before we started hanging out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, I got forced off the road and jumped a fucking median from the access road was up here and the highway entrance ramp was down here. And there was probably, I think I went back and measured, and it was like a 10-foot gap. But I was doing 50 miles an hour. Someone came out from a side street and just blew the fucking stop sign. And I fucking turned I intentionally went to go in the ditch, except for the ditch was, fucking dropped and it landed on the entrance ramp. But yeah, I full on air, scraped the fuck out of the bottom of my bike and shit, but I kept it up and I kept riding it. And it was absolutely terrifying.
That sounds terrible.
Yep. So I don't want to do that again. No interest in that. Not even a little bit.
Nope.
Okay. So I think we have a consensus that we are a no for the gyro.
Not until we get more information on it.
They filed a patent. They put it in the tour pack or whatever. To me, that's not a viable spot for it. And because they would have to either make the tour pack bigger, and then if they're putting it it would have to go in the bottom because you can't put it in the lid. I think of all the stuff that goes into it from a practical standpoint, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, the whole thing would have to be 100% enclosed, sealed.
Oh, yeah.
And the issue I have with it, because it says that it's on a gimbal. Don't you have to, in essence, reset a gimbal anytime you increase or decrease the weight that's being applied? No. So I'm just trying to think, how much slop are they going to have to put into that to make up for if you're a solo rider today and then tomorrow you have a 150-pound passenger on the back, or you have 90 pounds of gear because you're going out camping or on a big road trip or something.
Yeah.
No, the accelerometers would calculate for all that. They wouldn't have to adjust there would be no real neutral, so to speak.
Yeah, the weight wouldn't come into play because they're using velocity or the speed to. Yeah. Okay.
It's not on or off. It's able to be ramped up. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it would have just a calibration mode every time you started it up, and it would be milliseconds.
Yeah. It'd all be automatic.
Yeah. So now I'm concerned about how much weight will it actually add to the bike, because you have to know how many sensors are they going to have to add to the bike to calculate the weight and the proper amount of speed.
Well, it would all just be accelerometers.
I mean, for
a big deal.
For the weight of the bike, they know the base weight of the bike with a full tank of gas, and then they just what's the average weight, of the average male, because that's generally who rides motorcycles, and that it would just all that'd be all taken into consideration. I mean, and you might have some available options on there, be like unloaded, or whatever. Who knows?
I highly doubt it. If they've got the software and hardware to be able to balance a motorcycle, it'll be able to do all of that already automatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're basically building a drone from inside out is what the software would basically do.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think this is a real idea. I think that they're putting it out there, rattling sabers to show off force. But like, oh, look what we can do. Look what we did. We patented this. We're going to do this. But if that's where they're going to put it, I think it's a terrible idea. And then the 10,000 to 20,000 RPM, it's going to be noisy as fuck. I mean,
Yep.
I have no idea how they even plan to get something that fast. I mean,
yeah,
that's literally F1 engine speed RPMs. Like,
yeah,
and you know how loud those things are.
Yeah, that's ridiculously fast.
Okay, so a little bit of trivia. When was the first gyro mounted on a motorcycle type of vehicle?
1945.
I'm going to say 56.
You both were extremely close. 1913.
Ah,
The vehicle weighed 2.5 tons.
oh, fuck.
And it was in a museum up until they decided they needed 2.5 tons of scrap instead.
1913? Yeah, we know what time that was.
Oh, it made it. They buried it during World War I so that it wouldn't get smelted. So it was literally buried. And then after the war, they had it, kind of didn't really do much with it, uncovered it, put it in a museum. And then around World War II is when they were like, yeah, it's about that time. Let's go ahead and get that scrap.
Yeah, I finally watched that movie 1917. Oh man, have y'all seen it?
Yeah, we watched Midway and 1917 back to back. It was okay.
Yeah. Was Midway good?
I like Midway much better than 1917.
Okay.
I feel like without giving too much, fuck it. When they killed off old boy,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? They're like, for like 20 minutes into the movie, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, fuck your spoilers. It's been out for a while.
I was telling Alicia, I'm like, it's just like, okay, it just gets scarier. And we're like, okay, there's no way it can get more scary than this. And then it gets scarier. And they're like, okay, clearly you can't get scarier than that. And all of a sudden you've got like flaming Nazis running at you. Like,
it's the worst kind of Nazis. Wait, what kind of flaming are we talking? Are we talking about
17
flaming or flaming?
you weren't wearing leather. So.
Right, in 1917, they wouldn't have been Nazis.
They were in, Germans. Sorry, the Hun.
Yeah, but what was that group?
The flaming Nazis?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's a band.
It's got to be a band.
It's got to be
a gay white supremacist band.
I'm gonna look it up.
Undercover gay white supremacist band. Okay, speaking of just crazy random bands, the Red Elvises.
Never heard of them.
It's actually, it doesn't suck. If you're into metal,
I'm sold.
If you're into metal, check it out. It's just they're Russian.
Oh, hold on, Ken's got something.
All right. So if you type into Google "flaming Nazis," the first thing that comes up is some sort of shot, like a cocktail. It's Hot Damn and Jägermeister. Are the base liquors.
That makes sense.
It's cinnamon Jägermeister.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep scrolling. Still on the same first page of Google. Urban Dictionary, a flaming Nazi.
Demonetized. I see it coming.
Demonetized. The flaming Nazi, the act of a male removing his feces-stained penis from the anus of a female or another male and painting a swastika on his or her forehead.
God. Oh, Ken, get your people off the internet, man.
Holy shit.
So you can look up Bagger Bro on Urban Dictionary.
Oh, there's a second definition for flaming Nazi.
Wait, aren't you the contributor for Bagger Bro?
Yeah, and Dyna Bro.
The definition 2, the flaming Nazi, is an intense masturbation technique. It involves a male putting a clamp on their testicles and ejaculating where the clamp is still on, causing intense pain and pleasure.
Oh, so that has a name.
Oh, man.
Call that after the live stream cool off.
I was wondering why you had so many clamps in your garage, but no metal and or wood tools. That was a little off.
Hey, don't worry about what happens in there.
Man.
Okay?
That's why those high ceilings were a must, huh?
You didn't notice all the hooks that's up there?
Oh, dude, like you said, I don't need to worry about what goes on in there.
Yeah, but now you're going to be looking for them.
Nope.
Oh, that's...
So do you want to give your definition of Bagger Bro from Urban Dictionary? I have it pulled up.
Go for it. I don't even remember what I put.
All right. This is submitted by Bike and Bird himself to Urban Dictionary. Bagger Bro. A Harley enthusiast that enjoys the larger bagger motorcycles. Typically a white male within a midlife crisis. Purchases anything with a Harley-Davidson logo on it. Never wears a helmet and thinks all other bikes are inferior. Commonly heard blasting five-finger death punch as loud as his bike will play it. Yeah. Oh, man.
You know, it's still accurate.
All right, and here's Dynabro as submitted by Bike and Bird. A specific type of Harley-Davidson owner rides a bike of the Dyna family that is modified in a specific club style. High T-bars, race suspension, and a fairing is common. Most likely will be wearing Dickies shorts, long socks, Vans, and a Simpson racing helmet.
So I love the expensive race-proven technology that goes into their helmet, but yet they're wearing Dickies shorts and long socks.
They don't give a shit about how safe it is. That was just a happy accident.
Oh, man.
Stereotypes.
They exist.
They exist for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'm still running a Simpson to this day.
oh, so am I.
Yeah.
What do I have? I got the lane splitter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Biltwell.
But well, yeah.
That's the knockoff.
It's a knockoff of the
Yeah.
Flaming Nazi is Roadblock safe word.
You know, I saw that.
It's funny they're redacted on YouTube.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I was curious what he said. I didn't realize it kept him over on this one.
Oh, that is great.
Oh, that's good.
You know, Hasso wasn't supposed to tell everyone what our safe word was, but whatever. Dick.
Oh, man. That's funny shit.
Yeah, we went straight downhill on that one. Okay, so
Good.
Speaking of...
Yeah, Hasso, there's nothing... Anybody that typed Nazi, it is not there.
Oh, is that what it's freaking doing?
So
I thought it's because he missed the F on the
on
first
mine,
one.
so I got the live chat going, so I get to see everything. But it doesn't even show Hasso's comment at all. It doesn't even say redacted.
I'm still on top chat. Maybe that's why. Oh, yeah, they don't show up on live chat. That's funny.
But it shows up right here. There's evidence. It's right there.
Wow.
So I want to say we already talked about this, but I don't know who I talked about it with, but X Trials.
X trials.
X trials.
Is that when you go to trial with your ex? It's a divorce court, right?
Yeah, child custody, family court stuff. So that's one style, but another one, it's over in Europe. It's like indoor enduro racing.
Trials bike.
Yeah.
Indoor.
Yeah.
I've never heard of X trials.
But so X trials is like a league or something like that. So
okay.
It's yeah, but I feel like the world's crappiest fucking rider after watching these guys go.
Oh yeah.
So I found it on YouTube again, random 2 a.m. YouTube rabbit hole, and I started watching the 2018 X Trials, and just got hooked. And this past weekend, my dad and my sister were in town, and got them watching it, and they were all like, "Go Raga, go Raga! No, Bo, you got this, Bo!" I was like, "Oh, I created a monster. I'm so proud."
I mean, you look at the trials bikes, and they weigh next to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest
they're still
gas
100 pounds.
And then, well, yeah, but I mean, you know, they're 100, 150 pounds, but the shit they do with them is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, watching them jump like straight up a fucking 8-foot wall, you know, to land in a wheelie and fucking, you know, hold it so they can turn around. Yes.
And never touch the ground.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah. It is parkour on a dirt bike that has no seat.
Yeah. Parkour.
So definitely check it out. It's all on YouTube. You can get pretty much most of the videos are like the final rounds. So you kind of don't have to watch the boring shit where they all failed. But it's
that's pretty fun too.
Yeah, if they fail on something cool. But I'm telling you, though, these guys are absolutely amazing. But yeah, Armando found it on ESPN at 2 a.m. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. That's about where you'll find it.
Okay. Gas is a brand of motorcycle that they only make trial bikes.
I thought that was just good weed.
They make dirt bikes too.
Do they really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
2-stroke only, but they make dirt bikes. They're pretty good. They actually have a dealer out in San Marcos.
Is that where it's at? I know they. Yeah. I thought they had one up in like the Austin area.
They sell gas, Shercos, and betas.
Yeah,
fucking betas.
Apparently, the new beta 4-stroke's pretty good, but
is that all a beta needs? Is 4 strokes?
Yep.
Fucking kid. God, man, I miss you. Oh, big announcement. We'll go ahead and just pop it in the middle of this, around minute 53. We are going to be back in the recording studio next week. So we'll actually be going back to our normal podcast schedule. I'm still going to figure out how we can utilize the live stream. Maybe do like a monthly live stream, or maybe go to something that's more for the patrons. But we're still going to think about that. But yeah, man, I've been all in my YouTube subscriptions this past week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually have too. I've been watching quite a bit of YouTube.
Rick and Morty? Everybody caught up on Rick and Morty?
I'm not. No, I'm trying to has the whole season played yet?
I'm not sure yet, but
okay. I usually wait until the season's over and then I'll binge.
Yeah.
And then Solar Opposites.
I haven't watched a lot of that either. At least he didn't like it, so I'm trying to burn through everything else first.
It's okay for her to be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it's normal. So one of the things that I've been finding on YouTube is more and more shit around side-by-side racing.
That shit's fucking insane too.
And I'm gonna give a shout out to they're probably the biggest side-by-side channel on YouTube, but sidebysideblog.com. These guys it's like 3 dudes, but then they're kind of like us with the OGs. There's other people who make appearances, but it's just badass. They have different types. You know, they have Razors, they have the Mavericks. They race, they dune, they trail ride, all kinds of shit. So I've been getting into that, kind of just seeing what they're doing and some of the stuff that they're failing at and what type of equipment's breaking. But yeah, once we get this job thing figured out, Tracy's already green lighted it because she wants to run them too.
I can see you and Tracy doing that.
I was gonna say I rode a dirt bike this past week or a week before last, whenever, that even like most of the OGs could ride off road. It was one of my buddies. He came down from Austin, North Austin, and he's got it's a 2-stroke 300cc dirt bike, but it's got a recluse clutch in it, so you don't have to use the clutch at all, and it has a left-hand rear brake. So it was like riding a mountain bike with a throttle. Your feet are used for nothing but shifting, and you've got both brakes up on your levers. It was so weird to get used to, but after I got used to it, I was fucking ripping that thing.
All right.
Because all you have to do is just downshift, and all you have to focus on is turning, basically.
All right. Sounds all right.
It was a lot of fun.
I can get behind that. I'd still rather have Razor. I mean, we had one of those at the ranch. It was awesome.
They are dope, but
So I did.
if you plan on racing them, it gets pricey real quick.
So, yes and no. It all depends on what type of racing you're going to do. So if you're going to be doing the big desert racing, like the big off-road where you have a co-pilot with you type of racing, yes, it's going to get expensive very quick. As in, the frame alone will probably cost you $30,000 plus. But if you're doing like the local, like Torque or some of the other racing series out there for side-by-sides, they have stock classes where you're not allowed to modify anything outside the tires.
But you will break things.
You break a lot of things. Like we broke the Razor out at the ranch.
Yeah.
It never fails. Like out of the side-by-side races that we watch, there's at least, I'd say one or two in every class that break somewhere along the race.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, speaking of Razors, so I headed up to Nebraska to pick up my son because Corona and flying and whatever and Crazy X. Anyways, so I'm cruising. We just got into Nebraska, and the speed limit was like, I don't know, 65 or something like that. Something stupid, not good Texas speeds. And this group of fucking Razors came hauling ass across the highway, like 30 of them, just blasted across the highway, through the ditch, over the road.
What?
I'm like, what the fuck? And there was like 30 of these fuckers, and they're all just fucking cruising through Nebraska. Like, I guess no one cares up here. I mean,
Wow.
we were in a small fucking town, not far from one, but still, I was like, holy shit.
What state was this in?
Nebraska.
Oh, in Nebraska proper?
Yeah.
So it's actually relatively cheap to make a Razor or a Can-Am Maverick street legal.
Yeah.
You can do it for under $500.
Yeah. I don't imagine any of these were street legal.
Yeah.
A lot of the dealerships are doing like conversion packages, so you can actually buy it from them as a already titled vehicle.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
Kent's Power Sports
Yeah.
or whatever,
They do
Woods, and then Alamo, they all will do it for you. And they all, because Bear County is one of the few counties that still have it set up to where they can do it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to jump through a bunch of fucking hoops. But Brandon, not Can-Am. That's what I'm looking at.
The Mavericks are so much cooler, dude.
I just like the way that they look. I like that low profile to them. That, and I've been looking at prices in the aftermarket, and they're comparable. Maybe 1%, 2% less on some things, more on others. But Ken, I'm thinking we could do up some side by sides.
Yeah. Am I using your checkbook for this?
Just have Johnny drive, and then Ken can navigate.
Oh, that'll work.
Call y'all BBRC, Big Boy Race Crew.
Yeah. Or
must be 270 plus to ride.
I mean, or I could be the pit crew with the barbecue.
Or that.
I mean, someone's got to do it.
My parents are upgrading their toy hauler. They're finally pulling the trigger. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a gooseneck.
A goose.
A gooseneck, not a fifth wheel.
Nope.
So they have. So he's not upgrading his truck because he doesn't want to have to deal with a dually.
He probably will. His 2500 could handle a fifth wheel or a gooseneck, no problem. But just knowing how he is,
he'll probably upgrade. Fifth wheel, they're not called trailers. Fifth wheel dollies. So you attach the dolly to your regular hitch.
Yeah.
And then the fifth wheel attaches to that dolly.
Yeah. And I was talking to my dad about that too. And he actually got somebody he met on the road. He asked him about it. And he said they pull a lot easier. But the issue is that a lot of states still outlaw it. So really? You have to kind of plan your road trips around those states.
Yeah, I saw one.
It exceeds the number of axles for a non-commercial vehicle in some states. Because a lot of those goosenecks are triple axle already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
the
that
big
would put
boys
you at
definitely
3, 4. It'd put you at 6 axles at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw it on the way up or back from Nebraska. I forget where or what state, but I saw it and I was like, what the fuck is that? Never seen one before.
You'd only be at 5 axles unless, is that dolly, does it have wheels of its own?
Yes. The dolly has wheels of its own.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's like a trailer.
It's just another trailer
that you hook your fifth wheel to.
Gotcha. So Tracy and I have been talking about it and trying to figure out what's the best route and trying to think future proofing. I was like, okay, let's just say fuck it, get the fifth wheel. But now I'm looking at it, if this is something where we need to take 2 side-by-sides somewhere, or we want to take the side-by-sides and the Harleys, that gets into very expensive territory to get a toy hauler that's long enough to be able to carry a side-by-side and 2 Harleys.
Yeah.
So
that'd be a big boy.
Yeah. So we found some, and again, price is relative, but you can get into them for like 35, 40 grand if you're going brand new.
Yeah.
And that's one that you can put a 4-seater side by side in and still have it as a tow behind.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that my dad were looking at were like in the 50,000 range for the size that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So just knowing him, he'll probably end up spending about 70,000 on the trailer and then have to go and trade in his truck
and spend 95 grand on the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt his feelings.
But at that point, why doesn't he just keep his current truck and just go buy a Class A RV?
He doesn't want to do that. It wouldn't fit up the driveway. Yeah, I went and walked their property with him because they wanted to get ideas of like how they could make things work. And I was like, y'all are screwed. Like without moving a shit ton of land, there's no way to make that property reasonable for any large trailers or RV, I should say.
What about a bridge?
A bridge?
Coming off the main road. Kind of have a driveway that goes onto like a solid bridge that could then just go straight to where, kind of up to where the garage would be. Then he could back it into that spot that he's currently parking.
If I'm thinking I get what you're saying, it's because of the property line.
Gotcha.
His property line is like right at the left-hand side of that driveway. And then it only extends probably maybe 20 or 30 feet to the right of the edge of the right-hand side of the driveway. And then on that part, it's a creek. It's a very deep, rocky creek. But then the property splits like that. So like the backside of his property line is huge.
Right.
I think he said the backside is 6 times longer than the front or something like that. So it's on a very weird shape.
Because he's kind of in a cul-de-sac, right?
Sort of, yeah. Kind of like at the front end of a cul-de-sac, but yeah, they want to buy that land next door because that plot right next to him doesn't have any buildings on it, but the people won't sell it. So,
well,
yeah,
what can you do? So, my to-do list. We'll do this like a online virtual meeting. My takeaways.
Your follow-up
from this,
items?
Yes, follow-up items, takeaways, whatever you want to call it. I need to get the parts list webpage up. And I need to get all my shit from my upstairs office down to the studio so we can start recording next week.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Well, after
make that
next
happen.
Wednesday. So next Wednesday will be the last live stream as it's like this. So, anywho, no real closing argument tonight just because I'm tired and I'm hungry. So,
Had pork chops. I have ribs tomorrow.
I have Jersey Mike's chicken cheesesteak. Just chilling, waiting on me. I can see it. So, all right, gents. Ken, great to have you back, brother.
Yeah, eat your vegetables.
For next week, just so we can have kind of a nice wrap up, can you come up with something really good for Fuck That Guy?
Me?
Yeah.
For fuck that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever pisses you off the most between now and Thursday has to be fuck that guy.
Oh, that's man. I really have to shorten that list because I hate.
I know. I want the cream to rise to the top, or whatever that saying goes.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. Y'all heard it. He's going to see what he can do, folks.
See, that's not non-committal. That's a non-committal response. That's how you do it.
Yep. All right. Everyone, thanks for stopping by. It's time for me to go get some num-nums.
Nom, 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 nom.